Hello friends, it's Klauds and I am back with another video. So today I just want to say that I am so happy to be back in front of a camera, fully made up, and it's not just a reading vlog anymore. I will say though that this was actually originally supposed to be a reading vlog, but I kind of got lazy to prop up the camera every time I read, and I hated like looking at myself in like the playback because I don't like seeing myself in like my comfy wear. But yeah, that's just my insecurities talking. Anyway, I am here today to review the Oseman-verse, Alice Oseman's universe. So we all know that I love Heartstopper on this channel, and you probably already know that Heartstopper, the new Netflix show, has been going on since April 22, so by the time this video comes up, a little over 2 months. 2 months! A month and 2 weeks. When people hear Alice Oseman's name, the first thing they think of is usually Heartstopper. That's usually it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Heartstopper is their most famous and well-known work. But what a lot of people have yet to know, or already do know but have yet to read, is the Alice Oseman universe, which are the books, the novels that Alice Oseman wrote, but they're all set in the same universe. That's why it's called the Oseman-verse. So yeah, when people say the Oseman-verse books, they usually, at least these ones, they usually talk about these books, which we will tackle one at a time later. We're first going to talk about, because I've mentioned it so many times in this video alone and in this channel in general, the Heartstopper short stories, side stories, yeah. So we'll start off with This Winter. So if you've read volume 4 of Heartstopper, I will not say spoilers. I'll do my best to not say spoilers. So in volume 4 of Heartstopper, it comes to a point where one of the characters sort of just narrates what happened in the past few months, which is fine. It was really good storytelling, and from a different character's point of view, we get to see what happened during like Christmas Day of volume 4. I hope that makes sense, because Heartstopper, it's very lighthearted. Like Alice Oseman, though they do bring up serious topics, it's not that graphic or really like specified. Here, their novels, it is not PG-13, you guys. it is not. There are trigger warnings in these things. This winter, we focus on the spring siblings. So our first part, we get Tori's point of view. The middle, we get Charlie's point of view, and in the last part, we get Oliver's point of view. If you haven't read the novels and you've only seen the TV show, Charlie and Tori actually have a younger brother named Oliver. Christmas Day. I rated This Winter 3 stars. 1 star for each spring, so I'm kidding. I liked what Alice Oseman was trying to do, and it was nice seeing things from Tori's and Oliver's perspective, especially because this is the first book this is the first novel I think that I've read. If you chose to read in chronological order, this would be the first time you would be seeing Tori's point of view, but I chose to read it in publication order. So yeah, we get Tori's view from the first time, and just like how she is in the Heartstopper series, she is just as direct, as cool, as calm and collected as she usually is, but we get her inner turmoil. She is like calm, cool, collected on the outside. On the outside, on the inside, she is essentially Charlie, and there is nothing wrong with that. It was just so much fun to see. And with Oliver, he's like 7 years old, so we get to see all these serious things happening from the point of view of a kid. And what makes Oliver's perspective so unique is that, again, he's a kid. You don't, there are not a lot of stories where serious topics are brought up from the point of view of children. I can probably count on one hand the number of books that I've read that hit that mark. But yeah, surprisingly, we get that in this winter. The reason why I gave it 3 stars is because, for one thing, I wish it was longer. Like, this is literally only 101 pages. And you'd think it would end somewhere here. It would end somewhere here. Like, no, these are just like extra stuff. So yeah, like, it's this long. The book is this long. I finished it in one sitting. I wish it was longer. I wish we had a longer perspective of Tori and Oliver. If you're a really big fan of the Heartstopper series, though, it's a good read. It's a good read. You get to see more of the Spring family, and like, Tori, I absolutely love her. She is a legend. Basically, Tori on Christmas Day is me on Christmas Day. Nick and Charlie. So, Nick and Charlie happens... I don't read the webtoon series, okay? Not yet. I haven't caught up to it yet, but I do plan to. So I don't know what happened in recent chapters after volume 4. Because if you don't know, Alice Oseman actually posts Heartstopper chapters for free online, and it was because of the success that she got online that they decided to publish it. Anyway, so going back, Nick and Charlie. Nick and Charlie takes place in like the final... It starts around the final months of Nick's final year of high school. And I think like the weeks leading up to him moving away to college. And what I like about... Okay, first of all, I rated this 3.5. First off, what I liked about Nick and Charlie is that in Heartstopper, we see Nick and Charlie as like the perfect couple. Like, everything they do, they're just perfect for each other, you know, like, perfect. They're just perfect. But we also know that Nick is a year older and a year above Charlie. So they would have had to separate eventually. Nick and Charlie brings that to us, and it feels so real because it's such a real situation. Even if they were like the same year level in school, if they were choosing to go to different colleges, they would have to be separated anyway. So here, we get to see things from both Nick and Charlie's perspectives, and it's such a real situation. Even like me, I know I have friends who had to go through the struggle of deciding whether or not they wanted to do the long distance thing or whatever. So yeah, again, really real. Now, why did I give this a 3.5? These boys acted like they weren't dating for over 2 years. Okay? For one thing, I don't know, like, it was like all the characterization went out the window just to fit the plot. And that irked me so much, especially because, like, especially with Nick. It's like, look, I kind of have no hope for Charlie in opening up and stuff. I don't know what's happening in the graphic novel, so I'm kind of hoping that he did have some character growth. But based on what I've seen so far up to volume 4 of Heartstopper, where was Nick's character growth? It's like Nick forgot who Charlie was and what kind of person Charlie is. Because, like, boy did the opposite of everything he was supposed to do. That is why I gave it a 3.5. I could not with Nick. I love Nick Nelson. Nick Nelson has my heart and soul. I would defend these two boys with my life, but Nick, I can't defend you for this, baby boy. I cannot. So, now we move on to the books that don't really involve Nick and Charlie. So, these are all set in order. Wait, no. In order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So, we start with Solitaire. If you're in the Philippines, you would know that Alice Oseman's books are pretty much almost impossible to find. I was lucky that there was a seller on Shopee who was selling these. I bought these last year from Book Depository, and I was about to order this box set from Book Depot. I either Book Depository or ask my brother who is in Australia to order them for me, but thankfully I checked Shopee first, and the seller was selling this box set, but I think I bought the last piece. So yeah, anyway, I'll link down below the Shopee store just in case they do regain stock, because this is gaining popularity. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I gave this book a 3.5. I really thought I was gonna give this a 4. At least a 4. This is the perspective of Tori. So I think this takes place somewhere towards the end of volume 4. Yeah, after this winter and somewhere in the middle of volume 4, we get Solitaire. Like, yeah, one of the characters sort of brings up the events of Solitaire very, very slightly, but not enough for spoilers. Anyway, so this book is Tori's perspective, and again, I will say this again, I love Tori. She is just so direct and straight to the point, and I wish I could be like that. I wish I had her guts, because sometimes I relate very much to Tori Spring. However, this whole plot, I don't know. Why I liked Solitaire is that we got more characterization of Tori. What I don't like about Solitaire is the plot itself. I didn't see the point in all that was happening. I don't really understand the ending. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Not gonna say much, but just know that I love Tori Spring, and that is why I liked Solitaire, only purely because of Tori Spring and Michael Holden, though Michael Holden did push me sometimes. Next book, Radio Silence. Radio Silence I gave a 4.5. So Radio Silence, we are introduced to a brand new character. Her name is Frances. So the story takes place in Frances's point of view. She used to go to Higgs School, which is the school Tori goes to, as well as Elle, Tara, and Darcy. That's a school they go to. And in Radio Silence, she moves away from Higgs, and she's in a brand new school across town. So we don't really see the Heartstopper characters, except for Aled. And for Aled, he has his own story to go through. I liked the book. I liked the progression. I liked the plot. I liked that we're not exactly seeing Aled's point of view. We're seeing Aled's story through the eyes of someone else. And that made the plot so much more captivating and enticing to read. What I did not like, however, was Frances. I did not like Frances. Frances annoyed the living crap out of me. For someone who was like valedictorian and all, she is like book smart. Wait, was she valedictorian? Or am I tripping? Anyway, for someone at the top of her class, girl was not like that smart in life. Girl made some really stupid decisions for one. Girl needed to learn how to lie. I cannot with characters like that. Okay, maybe it's because I'm a pretty good liar, but I could not with Frances, okay? I was like towards the end, when we were getting more and more characters, and it wasn't just Frances I was reading, I was so ready to give up. But thankfully, all those characters arrived, and it didn't just have to be Frances I had to worry about, so it was all good. I finished it. I gave it a 4.5, which kind of surprised me in the end. I would have given it a 5. I would have given it a 5 if it weren't for Frances. Next is I Was Born for This. So I Was Born for This, I actually didn't hear anything about this book. Like, every time people spoke about the Oseman-verse, it was almost always about Solitaire, Radio Silence, and Loveless. I didn't know what to expect going into I Was Born for This, other than the fact that they were a band. This, I think, took the longest for me to read. Not because it was uninteresting. One, I was a little busy. And two, it's not that I didn't like it. It was more of, I didn't like what it was making me think about. So, if you haven't really heard much about I Was Born for This, we see the point of view from two characters. So we get the point of view of a girl named Angel and a boy named Jimmy. Now, Jimmy is a member of a band called The Ark. Angel, on the other hand, is a big fan of The Ark, to the point that she has a whole Twitter account mainly just dedicated to being a fangirl for The Ark. And Jimmy is, we get to see the point of view of a teenage pop star who, he kind of just wants to make music without all that fame. He really just wanted to make music. And what I didn't like about this book was the fact that it was making me feel guilty about my One Direction days. Not that I'm regretting my One Direction days, just more of the fact that I used to go on all these news websites. I forgot what website I would always go to. Like, every day after school, I would come home, turn on my laptop, and go on this website and see, like, what's the latest update, like, what is Harry up to, what is Zayn up to, what was Louis up to. Like, for fuck's sake, I named my dog Ellie just because at the time, Louis Tomlinson was still dating Eleanor. I forgot her last name. A girl named Eleanor. So it was really either Ellie or Danny, because Liam was dating someone named Danielle. In my bedroom, the password used to be Mrs. Styles. Like, the Wi-Fi password used to be Mrs. Styles. Yeah, like, I still have, like, a One Direction poster. Oh no, my camera. That's as straight as it's gonna get, I think. I don't know anymore. I can't tell. Anyway. Hopefully this is not gonna bother me in post. I gave this book 4 stars. I gave this book 4 stars. Only because I think the ending was a little rushed. But in terms of, like, character arcs, I really like Angel's character arc. I really like that whole, like, growth she had to do from being, like, an obsessed fangirl to a mellowed down fangirl. For Jimmy, I don't know. I think his story was a little open-ended for me. That's why I couldn't even give it a 4.5. I couldn't find myself giving it a 4.5. I wanted more. I wanted more from Jimmy. And, like, I don't know, again, the ending just seems so rushed. That's the thing about Alice Oseman's books. For Solitaire and I Was Born for This, the ending seemed a little bit too rushed for me. But yeah, that's what I thought about I Was Born for This. Now last but not least, we have Loveless. Loveless, though not as heavy as Solitaire and Radio Silence and I Was Born for This were. The character growth in this, the development, the plot, it puts you through a lot. It puts you through a lot. Like these three were heavy because of the things that they tackled in their stories. The themes and the struggles. This one, though just as serious, it's not as heavy, but it puts you through a lot, okay? And honestly, I had to like keep taking breaks when reading this, cause I don't know, it's not that there was a lot going on, it's just that I really needed time to sit down and like, I don't know, comprehend, reflect everything that was happening. And I don't know, I have recommended this to a lot of my friends so far, especially like if you're struggling through like finding out your sexuality, like really go for this book. I don't know, I felt bad for Georgia while reading this book. It was like, girl, it's fine, you don't have to. I don't know, it's probably like she's like 18 and I'm like 23, so like reading this, it's like the age gap isn't that big, but it was like I was reading myself from when I was that age, and it's just like, no, sweetie, it's fine. You don't have to feel pressured about that. It's fine. Yeah. So this isn't gonna be a spoiler, but in like the first few pages of the book, we see scenes where Georgia kind of forces herself to do things she kind of doesn't want to do because she thinks that there's like there's a standard for it, like, oh, I'm 18, I should have done this by now. Like, no, sweetie, this is why representation like that is important. I don't know, I kind of want a show with teenagers where they do not kiss or anything, or like go and have a relationship, just friends, because it's fine if you didn't have your first kiss in high school or your freshman year of college. It is fine if you do not have a boyfriend while in high school. It is okay. Like, sweetie, it's fine. And I don't know, I think a lot of that mentality of there being a standard comes from media, first of all. So, yeah. I really felt for Georgia in this book, and that's why I gave this 5 stars. Georgia, sweetie. There was this one character though, that I wish we saw more of, because I loved him. He was so fun. Like, he made the scenes so much more fun. I think his name is Sunil. I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm so sorry. But yeah, he was great. I loved him. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the Oseman-verse. I really hope you enjoyed this video, because I read this for the entire month of May, and yeah. Whew. You can actually, like, I don't know, if you're a fast reader, like, because I finished Solitaire and Nick and Charlie this winter all in one sitting. Radio Silence, I think it took me 2 days, but I Was Born for This and Loveless, that was also when I was starting to get a little burnt out. Borderline reading slumped, only because I was lazy and, you know, the elections. But Yeah. It took me a week to finish each. Like 1 week for I Was Born for this and 1 week for Loveless, and I actually think that I could have finished it in 2 days max. They're not that long to read, but you will probably need time to like sit down and think about everything that happened in the books, and then probably reflect on how it connects to your life. So yeah, a little bit of an existential crisis there. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I get to see you in the next one. Bye!